This past weekend, the Chiefs and Bills, as well as Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, squared off yet again. As they always do, they gave us an incredible game. A late-game thriller with so many twists and turns that ended in hysteria for one side and misery for the other. The Chiefs and Bills have now faced off 7 times over the past 4 seasons, and they've given us great games just about every time. The yearly Chiefs-Bills game that sometimes we are lucky enough to get twice in a year has become a date that every NFL fan marks on their calendar because they know they're going to witness an instant classic. Before we take a look at the history of Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen, let me first say this. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, all those guys, they're gone. That era of NFL quarterbacks is behind us. But this new crop of QBs, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, they're carrying the torch for the field generals of yesteryear. But nobody has done it more wonderfully than Mahomes and Allen. Take a second to admire the greatness we're witnessing between these two quarterbacks as they have risen to the top of their profession. To understand the weight of this game, we have to take a look at the history of Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Their first ever matchup took place in Week 6 of 2020, where the Chiefs took down the Bills 26-17, behind 161 rushing yards from Chiefs RB Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The Bills' leading rusher, however, was Josh Allen, with 42 yards. Their first rematch was in the AFC Championship that year, where Mahomes and the Chiefs once again got the better of Allen and the Bills, to the tune of a 38-24 victory, which really wasn't indicative of how the game went, as the Chiefs led by 23 points with 7.5 minutes remaining. Mahomes played spectacularly, going 29 for 38 for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Allen passed for nearly 300 yards, but only threw 1 touchdown before the game was pretty much settled. The Bills kicked and made 4 field goals. Allen and his offense's inability to score touchdowns plagued them, as Mahomes and the Chiefs made pay dirt routinely. Allen was again his team's leading rusher with 88 yards, as his running backs combined for just 32 yards. Week 5 of 2021 was the Bills' chance at redemption, and they cashed in. Allen had a nearly perfect performance. He threw for 315 yards with 3 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown to go along with 59 rushing yards, yet again his team's leading rusher. In the third quarter, Mahomes threw a pick 6, and then on the very next drive, threw yet another costly interception, giving the Bills the victory and Josh Allen his first win over KC. The divisional round came along, and the Bills-Chiefs matchup was set to take place for the 4th time in 2 seasons. This game contained one of the wilder finishes in NFL history, as the score was 26-21 Chiefs at the 2-minute warning. In those final 2 minutes, Allen threw a touchdown to Gabe Davis and got the 2-point conversion to give the Bills a 29-26 lead. Then, Mahomes and Tyreek Hill connected for a touchdown to give the Chiefs a 33-29 lead. Next, in the final 62 seconds, Allen led a drive that ended in another Gabe Davis touchdown, giving the Bills a 36-33 lead, and Patrick Mahomes 13 seconds to get the Chiefs into field goal range. Well, that's exactly what he did, leading to a 49-yard field goal make by Harrison Butker to send the game to overtime. The Chiefs won the coin toss in OT, elected to receive, and went down and scored a touchdown, ending the game and leaving Allen and the Bills' offense without the opportunity to keep their season alive. Allen was the Bills' leading rusher yet again with 68 yards, getting just 26 yards from his running backs. In Week 6 of 2022, the Bills sought revenge once again, and revenge they got. A late-game touchdown from Josh Allen to Dawson Knox gave the Bills a 4-point lead and left Mahomes with over a minute to get 6 points, but the second play of the drive was a game-sealing interception. In 2022, we didn't see a Chiefs-Bills playoff game as the Bills were eliminated by the Bengals before they could get to KC. Then they squared off in Week 14 of this season in a game that had a controversial ending. Kadarius Toney was lined up offsides for the Chiefs and ended up scoring the game-winning touchdown in miraculous fashion on that play, but it was called back as the flag had already been thrown. Chiefs fans and players argued the game shouldn't have been decided on such a ticky-tack call, but failed to recognize they won Super Bowl 57 in the same fashion 10 months prior.
A bit embarrassing in the National Football League for that to take place.
Either way, the Bills won the game, and Kansas City was unhappy about it, prompting Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid to go on tirades post-game about how awful the call was. So entering the divisional round matchup this past weekend, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen had faced off 6 times in the regular season and playoffs and were knotted up at 3-3. 5 of those 6 games took place at Arrowhead, including both playoff games. In 4 of those 6 games, Josh Allen was the Bills' leading rusher, and in those 2 games he wasn't, the Bills were undefeated. The seventh installment of Mahomes-Allen would be different. It would take place at Orchard Park, something we hadn't seen since their first matchup back in 2020. Allen also finally had a rushing attack other than himself, as this was the first year of his career he had a 1,000-yard rusher on his team in James Cook. This year has also been the first time the Chiefs have shown any real signs of a weakness. After winning their second Super Bowl in the Mahomes era last season, they had seemingly taken a step back. Their 11-6 record is the worst of the Mahomes era, and they also had their fewest points scored in a season since Mahomes took the reins of the franchise. Tyreek Hill is a thing of the past for KC, and it showed this year, with their receiving unit leading all football in drop passes. Travis Kelce took a step back too. After 7 straight seasons of 1,000-plus receiving yards, he failed to eclipse that mark and caught just 5 touchdowns. This was also only the second time in Mahomes' career he threw less than 30 touchdowns, and he also hit a career high in interceptions with 14. They also scuffled over the second half of the season as they went 4-4 in the final 8 games. Conversely, after a 6-6 start, the Bills won the final 5 games of the season and earned themselves an AFC East championship. Bottom line, the Chiefs were seemingly primed to fall short of the AFC championship and finally take a step back. It seemed possible that this would be the first time in the Mahomes era that they didn't make the AFC championship game, and the Bills were hoping to make that possibility a reality. Now, to the game. Let's start by pointing out Josh Allen was very clearly like 5 yards past the line of scrimmage on this big third down pickup. The Chiefs didn't challenge, and then the Bills converted on 4th down the next play, but that was obviously a blown call by the officiating crew. The Chiefs do have to take some responsibility, though, for not challenging because that was extremely obvious. Despite Buffalo moving the ball pretty efficiently on this drive, it ended in just 3 points after a big third down stop by the Chiefs. Hopefully, for the Bills, this wasn't an early indicator of things being similar to the 2020 AFC Championship, when they continually got to the red zone but couldn't convert on 6. Field goals are not going to beat Patrick Mahomes, even if they're made. We'll get to that later. The Bills' defense also stepped up on 3rd down, though, and forced the Chiefs to attempt a 47-yard field goal, which the always reliable Harrison Butker nailed. The first quarter ended tied at 3, and this drive was huge for the Bills. The Bills have been inept at running the football in previous years, as I made sure to point out. When Allen isn't the Bills' leading rusher, he's undefeated against the Chiefs. This drive here had a run-pass mix of 9 rushes to 2 passes, with 55 rushing yards and 20 passing yards, ending in a Josh Allen rushing touchdown, giving the Bills a 10-3 lead. The Chiefs moved the ball down inside the red zone before Buffalo's defense came up with another huge 3rd down stop. Butker put the 29-yard field goal attempt straight through the uprights, making the score 10-6 Bills. At this point, it seemed the Chiefs had taken the role of the Bills from the 2020 AFC Championship game, moving down the field but failing to find the end zone, having to settle for field goals. The Bills' offense stalled on the next drive, and the Chiefs subsequently put the 2020 AFC Championship Bills allegations to rest as Mahomes found Travis Kelce for a 22-yard touchdown strike, giving the Chiefs the lead. The Bills then put together a masterful touchdown drive themselves to close out the half, with Josh Allen picking the Chiefs' defense apart and plowing forward for another rushing touchdown. Something to note about this Chiefs team is this is the best defense Patrick Mahomes has ever had. This season, they were 2nd in the league in total yards allowed and 2nd in the league in points allowed per game. Their 294 points allowed was easily the least they've allowed with Mahomes at the helm and the least they've allowed since 2015. The most first-half points they had allowed all season was 17, so for Josh Allen and the Bills to hit that mark was a very big deal. But coming out of the half, the Chiefs got the ball and moved it downfield with relative ease, resulting in them quickly taking back the lead. Mahomes found Kelce for a short touchdown pass, Kelce's 2nd of the game. This was the first time all season Kelce had a multi-touchdown game. Once again, the Bills were able to move the ball downfield efficiently, and this time, methodically. An 8.5-minute drive for Buffalo ended in a touchdown, regaining the lead for the Bills, as Allen nailed a strike to the front of the end zone where Khalil Shakir was. Shakir was the Bills' best wide receiver in this game. Stephon Diggs received 8 targets and corralled just 3 of them for only 21 yards, and what was more of the same in terms of what we've seen from Diggs lately. After a 24-22 loss to the Denver Broncos, the Bills fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey and promoted Joe Brady. Under Dorsey this season, Diggs caught 73 passes for 868 yards and 7 touchdowns, averaging about 7 catches and 87 yards a game. After Dorsey's departure, Diggs had 34 receptions for 315 yards and just 1 touchdown, averaging about 5 catches and 45 yards per game. Diggs' positive impact was yet again absent in this one. More on that soon. The Chiefs get the ball, and a big-time pitch and catch on 2nd down sets them up for an Isaiah Pacheco score. KC regains the lead with 14 minutes to go, and the Bills desperately need to strike back here if they want to stay in this game. Otherwise, another Kansas City touchdown will put the difference at 10 with little time to come back. This drive is huge. And on third down, on their own 30, the pass is batted down, bringing up fourth down. When asked what his halftime message to the team was, Sean McDermott replied, "Go for it." Well, they need points badly, but not bad enough for Coach McDermott to fulfill his halftime prophecy as they set up to punt here. That's until the snap goes to Damar Hamlin on a fake punt, who carries the ball forward, but the Chiefs sniff it out immediately and completely blow up the fake, turning the ball over on downs. Pacheco rips off an enormous run to the 3-yard line, seemingly setting Casey up for a score. McCole Hardman receives the toss, but fumbles the ball through the end zone as he reaches for the touchdown. This is a very controversial rule, and the NFL has already announced plans earlier this season to take a look at possibly changing it this offseason. The rule is if the offensive player fumbles into the end zone, the other team gets the ball and a touchback. That's exactly what happens here, and the Bills have a new lease on life. They quickly find themselves third and long in their own end, and Josh Allen delivers a dime to Trent Sherfield, who cannot come down with it. The Chiefs get the ball, and the Buffalo defense seemingly comes up with a huge third down stop until one of the latest flags I've ever seen comes in. Patrick Mahomes begged the refs to throw a flag, and they gave in, as they typically do, to give the Chiefs another chance on what I really think was an incorrect pass interference call. Either way, the Bills' defense comes up big again and forces them to punt. This time, no flag. 8 minutes to go. Josh Allen could lead a legacy drive here to give his team a 4-point lead with a touchdown and force Mahomes and the Chiefs to recreate a touchdown of their own. On first down, Allen delivers one of the best throws I've ever seen, gift wrap to Stephon Diggs, who drops it. If this isn't an 80-yard touchdown, it gets them inside the 25 at the very least, and the opportunity to control the clock. Instead, it falls through Diggs' hands, and years from now, I believe it will be looked at as one of the most impactful incomplete passes in NFL history, certainly in the careers of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. But the Bills press on and unfortunately don't find the end zone. But they are set up for a 44-yard field goal attempt for Tyler Bass, who is one of the best kickers in football. I'm not saying he should have, but I will note McDermott still hasn't followed through on his halftime message of go for it, at least not conventionally. And I know he wasn't just talking about keeping the offense on the field on fourth down. Anyway, it makes sense to kick here because a minute and a half is more than enough time for Patrick Mahomes to operate, as we saw in 2021, but you trust your defense enough to settle for an automatic 3 points. If only it were automatic. Bass misses wide right, the Chiefs are able to easily run out the clock, and Mahomes defeats Allen once again. Josh Allen was the Bills' leading rusher. In the regular season, Allen has beaten Mahomes every time except once. But in the postseason, where it's do or die, Mahomes has beaten Allen every single time. That does it for this one. If you enjoyed, please do me a favor and leave a like on the video. Also, remember to subscribe for more videos like this one and leave a comment with your thoughts or opinions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.